they know students are coming in at this young age, and they're going through a lot of change and a lot of challenges and stuff. And so they are really, they really connect with each, with the student.
Hi everyone, this is Miss Maggie Ying, and today is my honor and pleasure to invite Miss Suzanne Ranson to our interview about amazing girls-only independent school, Bishop Strachan School in Toronto. So today I really want Suzanne to talk about the boarding program at BSS, because over the past 15 years, I believe, right, you've been working at
This is my 19th year.
19th year, right. I knew Suzanne like 15 years ago, and she's been working as an admission officer here for such a long time and interviewed so many girls. And we've witnessed how much a girl, especially an international boarding student, can grow up in their boarding program. So I would like to invite Suzanne to share more information so that if you have any questions about the BSS boarding program, and it will give you some new ideas about whether your girl is a fit for BSS or not. So Suzanne, please introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. So my name is Suzanne Ranson. I'm the Director of Enrollment at BSS, or the Bishop Strachan School. And as we discussed, this is my 19th year at BSS, and over the time I've really met some wonderful families and students, and I've been involved in boarding for a huge number of those 19 years. And the nice thing about being here for so long is that I've been able to see them come in, when they're just shy and nervous about leaving their home for the first time. And then I've seen them graduate. And then often I've seen them come back as alum as well. And that's a wonderful piece, because you can see everything that they've learned and gained in their character here. You can see what they're doing out in the world now. And they're doing such amazing things.
It must be such a big feeling of achievement, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Graduation, the day of graduation is always such a moment where I'm so proud, and I think all of our team is so proud of the students that they see come through here. So
so many of my families, they always wonder what is most special about BSS boarding program, because here in Great Toronto area, many other schools are also providing boarding programs.
Absolutely. And I think BSS, so, and to your point, being in Toronto is a huge piece that really attracts families. They see Toronto as a destination where they can come and be a part of such a multicultural community in the city of Toronto, and there are so many things to do. They, and our boarders take advantage of that. So they can, even on their weekend activities, for example, that's a huge piece of when students can sign up for the different events that we offer on the weekends, and they can go and explore. Even one of the early activities of, first weekend of September, first or second weekend of September, they are going out and learning how to use our transit system, and they are starting to explore and get to know their way around Toronto. And the events that we have throughout the year really range. And we listen to our students, because, every year we have a different group of students, obviously, as we're welcoming new students, and as interests change and everything, we're always listening to our students and what they want to do and what they want to explore. But it could range from exploring museums, like we have a wonderful art gallery of Ontario. There was a museum of illusion at one point, and that was a really interesting experience for them. They've gone to sports games like the Toronto Blue Jays, big baseball city, especially this past year. They've gone, but then they've also done some really unique things, such as puppy yoga, which is a highlight. And I think some yoga does happen, but they might get a little distracted with all the puppies running about. But and then we've gone to Toronto Island, and Toronto does have an island attached on Lake Ontario, and so they've explored that. And then we'll do things on campus too, but we have access to resources that we can bring experts in as well. Like, for example, students were learning. And they took an Italian cooking class, and they brought a chef
Italian cooking class.
Yes, and they brought a chef in to kind of do some different recipes, and they were making pasta and such. And so we have access. We have access to so many things, so students can go off campus to do things, and then we can bring in our resources and experts on campus as well.
Yeah, I must remind all the parents, because if you watched my previous interview video with Cindy Pan, the amazing grade 12 student, she mentioned that it's not just about the vibrant learning resources she can like access here in downtown Toronto as a boarding student, but also about many wonderful international field trips she has experienced. She mentioned that her most favorite experience happened when she was only grade 10. She participated in the drama and music field trip in New York City. So these girls, they enjoy the metropolitan atmosphere, not just about Toronto, but also here there in New York City. So I really wonder, as a boarding student, so what other wonderful field trip or international learning opportunities they would have.
Yeah, so Cindy's trips were part of our global learning program. And so that is an opportunity for our senior school students and middle school. There's actually a couple opportunities for grade 8 students as well. And they, so these trips are offered to students. There's a variety of them throughout the year. They're often connected to a piece of curriculum. Like, for example, Cindy's trips focused on kind of the art and performance and drama trip, whereas we'll have others that might have a environmental science. There's a trip to Belize that had an environmental science focus. There was a trip to the Netherlands, which had a social justice focus on it. There have been other trips, and again, they connect to different pieces of the curriculum, or there's been language trips to Spain. We've done music trips to a variety of different music trips. They've been to Italy before. They've been to Ireland before. Again, and the music students will be performing at different locations in these trips. So there are a lot of opportunities. The trips look different each year, and we have a great team that are always looking for opportunities throughout the world that will really benefit our students and the learning that goes along with that. In addition to just these international experiences, we also have exchanges. So students are able to, they could be going on an exchange trip to Japan, Australia. We're doing an Argentina trip this year.
Wow.
So that's also an opportunity that students can do.
So you can tell that as a boarding student at BSS, you would never feel bored.
No, exactly. And yes, you are not bored when you're at BSS. That's very true.
And for many parents, especially Asian parents, they really want the girls to have balance, right, between learning and experiencing.
Absolutely.
So for a boarding student, how do the boarding staff help them to regulate their time?
Yes, so that's really key. And to your point, like a piece about BSS is really that learn more piece, because the girls are learning so much within their classes, but it's also outside of their classes. But yes, time management is very important. So that's an element that boarding staff can help students do this through. Even in there is an evening study time from 7 o'clock to 9 each evening, and they do that. They have access to a math and science tutor, and also access to kind of a English and humanities tutor as well. But through this, our staff are also checking in with them, and sometimes those discussions about time management also come into play. Also, we do have run sessions in boarding. Usually we have kind of life skills that we'll offer and run through boarding some of our evening activities. And that one session, one of the ones that we do is kind of working on time management and kind of having students kind of give each other some ideas about what works best for them, and kind of reflecting on what time management works. Also, in the school, we do have well-being counselors as well, and they will work with students. If anyone's having a little struggle with their time management, they'll also kind of work with students to develop a good system and something that works well for them, because obviously everyone's different. What strategy might work for one student might not work for another student. So that's a piece that we're always looking at, because again, students will come in and they'll say, you offer so many clubs. I want to do it all. And that's great. We love the enthusiasm, but there are only 24 hours in a day. So we do want to make sure that they manage and maybe they focus on one or two things that they're really passionate about in addition to kind of their academics. And we want them to be able to balance it out and still kind of feel very, still feel that they, can have fun too, and that's important as well.
So for many girls' parents, I believe a lot of them ask me about Maggie. It's been really tricky for me to have a really good relationship with my daughter because entering puberty, the girls start to have a lot of ups and downs. So it's really not just about time management, it's also about emotion management. In terms of boarding students, I've witnessed how BSS boarding and residential staffs are working so hard with the girls to help them maintain a balanced and a well-being life. So in terms of that area, we are very curious. How do the boarding teachers support the girls?
Well, the staff are real experts in kind of boarding school and boarding student life, right? So they know students are coming in at this young age and they're going through a lot of change and a lot of challenges and stuff. And so they are really, they really connect with each, with the student. And also, so we have also boarding mentors, so older students, boarding students that can connect with the younger ones.
And that's mentor.
Exactly, a lot of peer connection, but then of course the boarding staff have the connection as well. Every boarding student will have now the students, because we're a small boarding program, students will get to know all of the boarding staff, but they are assigned a specific boarding family advisor, and that's a main person to connect with and to connect with parents as well. And so the girls will create these relationships, and it's that trusted adult, that kind of that circle of care that we can provide, that they know that they can go to these people in addition to their well-being counselor and their university counselor and their teachers and their coaches. We want to create that kind of circle of care.
So it's actually a lot of different roles of supporters.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
I see.
Yeah.
So when you are interviewing the new boarder candidate, what kind of characters that you're looking for? I know that BSS also has some other application like requirements like a language proficiency level and also your report card. All of these are what the parents are already very familiar with.
Yes.
In terms of character, what kind of boarding candidate girls that BSS is looking for?
Well, we're looking for all different types of students, really, because we don't want all of the same student coming in, right? So we do want students with different interests. We need extroverts, we need introverts, but I think something that's in common with everyone is really that kind of excitement and curiosity to learn things, and so I think that when we have students, it's great to hear about what they're passionate about and what gets them excited, and what other things they'd like to try, what new things they would like to try, or or what curiosities they have. I think that eagerness to learn is something that's probably in common, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, or if you love basketball versus loving robotics, right? We love all of that, but as long as there's something that maybe gets you very motivated or determined or excited, just something that gets you really excited. Yeah.
Yes. So BSS is very well known for its signature character.
Yes.
Right. When I meet a family who's very interested in BSS boarding, I would always share them with the signature.
Yes. The signature of a BSS girl. Yes.
So can you share with us like a BSS boarding student, successful boarder? What are the two most obvious?
Oh, I know. Yeah. So the signature of a BSS girl, like they're things that we are developing in our students throughout their time here. And yes, and what are there I believe 7. I name them, see if I can get them, because when you're always like, oh, I can't remember that last one. There's leadership, voice, self-awareness, grit, ethical citizenship.
Yes.
growth mindset, and
Curiosity.
Curiosity. Thank you. Yes, thank you. There's always the one that's like sticking. Yes, curiosity. So two, I think one very important one is grit. I think that is it is about that perseverance. It is about, when things don't go your way, nothing is perfect in this world. And when things don't go your way, how do you pick yourself up and move on from that?
Exactly.
And I think that's a big piece that that's not something that, we have a class one day and you learn about grit. That is something that's just embedded in our classes and in our co-curriculars. Like sometimes you have this opportunity and you're maybe leading a meeting as a student, because we have our student leaders even run meetings at times, and maybe something doesn't go well and they have to kind of live with that and say, oh, that meeting didn't go as well as I returned. But how do you come back from that? And then how do you reflect, and how do you kind of move on and say, okay, well, next time I'm maybe going to do this.
Yes.
Or, so it's those pieces that we hope to instill in students. And another, I could talk about each of them, but I won't. But I think another piece that's really big at BSS is leadership. And, and that is, I'm sure Cindy spoke about leadership, whether it was in boarding or the school, but I think there are so many different opportunities here to develop leadership in everyone and to develop different types of leaders as well. And I think that throughout, and we have a dean of student leadership at the school, and I think that speaks to the importance of the development in that, in all of our students. And that, through junior school, middle and senior school, like this is a big focus for us. And I think that we want students to go out into the world and be confident leaders and to be able to handle all of the different changes that are happening in the world.
Yeah, and I believe if you choose BSS boarding program, it will not just about leading others. You want to learn how to lead yourself first.
Yes.
Because at a boarding environment, you really need to take good care of yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And that is such a great stepping stone into going into university, because there's the piece of you're in a community, so you have a lot of people who have your back, I guess, is the saying, right? You have that people watching out for you to help manage those difficult situations and to help you through those times. And then when you go off to university and you are living on your own and away from your family, you're like, I've got this because I've done this, and I've lived on my own before, and I've kind of managed the ups and downs of life, and now I'm ready. And then so that way, when you're in your university, you can really focus on your new school and program and academic pieces and the things you're going to do, because you know that you've been able to be a leader within a community living space, and that you've been able to, that you have the skills and the tools that you can move forward into university.
And the other thing I really want to mention is that Suzanne actually travels a lot every year, not only to Asia, but Europe. So if you are a family who's interested in applying for boarding, you can always expect to come in and visit, but also don't feel anxious because you cannot travel. Because Ms. Ranson will travel to your city, and we can definitely help you connect with them and to book an interview in your city in Asia.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a team, a wonderful team, and we travel all over the world. So
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Maggie, so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.